Less than a week till the Chiefs bid to make history with a third straight Super Bowl on the line. Good evening, I'm Alyssa Jackson. And we start with breaking news tonight. A person is dead and 3 others are injured after a building collapsed at a Family Dollar in Midtown. This happened around 2:45 this afternoon, and we want to get straight out to Ryan Gamboa right now. We have some pretty big tree limbs down in this neighborhood, and it's kind of created an issue because this is a pretty busy street. Grabbing this blue envelope out of the glove compartment ensures the driver has everything the officer will ask for. How quickly we go from such a high to such a low. We've noticed families pulling up here at University Health. They were hopping out of their cars. They were rushing over here to the ER to check on their loved ones. It's not uncommon to see traditional neighborhoods like this in Fairway and maybe next door or across the street, new construction sites like this. I've been covering issues at the agency for 7 months. What are you guys doing to solve those?
They've already been resolved.
Not Terrell Jolly's.
Toss it out to our very own Alyssa Jackson at Union Station.
Hey, you're Patrick Mahomes. I'm Travis Kelce, right? We can't let the men have all the fun. Interview rooms get that reputation of being intimidating, but the Johnson County Sheriff's Department is trying to change that perspective. These mats are actually carpet from this homeowner's basement, and as you can see, they are still soaked. So we're going to show you guys more of that in just a second. They don't believe that you're the same county executive that they put in office. Are you? I submitted an open records request to the county, Secretary of State's office, and both election boards to independently verify that Frank White used taxpayer money to look into the recall process. The Minneapolis police chief also assured they will step up law enforcement presence in schools and places of worship. The same is happening here in the metro. We just cannot get away from this really devastating news. Do you have any regrets for the day of what happened?
Oh my gosh, of course. Are you kidding? Yeah, no, it's terrible. It was a terrible accident.
Well, state representatives are in the thick of their special session, and they're debating 2 topics, redistricting and the initiative petition reform. Jackson County legislator Manny Barker making his first court appearance after being charged with domestic battery in Shawnee. Not only is Taylor a Chiefs fan, but take a look right here. We got Chiefs, and then if you flip the arm, boom, Channel 41. Heat or humidity, my curls will thank you, Jeff. So please tell us, which one are we gonna get? I mean, there are so many changes and so much ahead. Just thinking back a year ago to now and all the development happening in and around here. I'm Alyssa Jackson. I am holding our governments accountable as progress is being made. This was a beautiful last ride before they ended at the funeral home in front of Station 42 here. That procession brought up a lot of emotions for people who came over here. I was talking to people who said they were just getting chills at the silence as that procession went by. And we just saw some women come up and continue to drop off things for the firefighters here at Station 42. It just really shows that even though Graham Hoffman had his last alarm, the support from the community does not end there. Station 42 was a special stop here on that ride. And let me tell you, people who were standing out here lining the streets had so many stories to share, even just being neighbors or just people from around the community. And get this, 2 guys came out here and told us that you're probably seeing on your screen now, they think that they were one of his last calls that day. And it alludes to a sign that we saw out here that says, "Be more like Graham."
Earlier that evening, they had come to the house to take my mother to the hospital because we couldn't get her out of the house. And they came in, and he was the one that came in and was so attentive. He was on his knees asking her questions and everything, you know. And then I saw what had happened on the news the next day, and it just shocked me. I knew, you know what I'm saying, you just know. I felt kind of special, like it was a good message from above, you know.
A special message from above. That when he said that, Kevin and Caitlin, that gave me chills, because knowing that Graham Hoffman didn't know when his last alarm would be, he was giving himself as much as he could. And looking at Station 42 right now, you see these black ribbons that are a symbol of their grief and their mourning. But one thing that people who came out here told me today, one by one, is that the community has KCFD's back. Back to you guys. For most of the year, Integrity Capital Management has struggled to pay mortgages on some of their properties. We've received emails, contracts, documents from the company supporting challenges they say aren't all on the tenants, but the Lee's Summit Housing Authority too.
The reality is that, it could be one of my staff members.
We all know affordable housing is precious in today's market, and for some renters, it can feel like a hopeless search.
When you have home, you have hope.
Terrell Jolly runs a property management company, Integrity Capital Management. Most of the company's renters use housing vouchers, including one longtime tenant who needed some help.
We end up finding a way to assist her to get into the Section 8 housing voucher system based out of Lee's Summit.
Jolly has worked with the Lee's Summit Housing Authority before, so he expected maybe a 2-month delay in getting housing assistance payments started up. But the Housing Authority didn't process the tenant off the waiting list, so there were no payments for months. So between January and April, you guys didn't know that she was in the system?
I didn't know she existed.
Lisa Dickerson became the Housing Authority's executive director in January.
In my months here as the new executive director, I have uncovered a plethora of issues that began before me and persisted under me until staff was completely rotated.
What Dickerson details is a system of dysfunction, including disappearing documents.
Documents were shredded or gotten rid of, that the staff person who's no longer here that was here at that time had to ask repeatedly that Mr. Jolly's staff would send any and all emails that had been sent. And looking at that, it was clear that they had been sending emails to staff that was no longer here.
So his tenant's documents were shredded by previous staff?
I can't say what happened to them, but they were not in this building.
So what you just mentioned, documents were shredded?
Well, we do know we have a shred box that we found documents in, I'll put it that way, of other documents.
When was that found?
I can't remember, and we're gonna keep it on Mr. Jolly.
Well, Jolly wants to know what happened too. The voucher for the particular property we're focusing on covers 90% of the tenant's rent. But after around 6 months, they were still waiting on a housing assistance payment.
I had to float the capital. I had to take out of my personal finances. I just had to create a way in order to keep servicing the debt.
Last month, the Housing Authority did write him a check for the 6 months of housing assistance payments. That check did not include late fees, about $700 the Housing Authority refuses to pay, even though Jolly has a contract that states the agency does pay late penalties, and there's a policy on the agency's website. You're not going to pay, even though according to your policy you should. How do you justify that? Dickerson said those guidelines have changed.
Alyssa, I gave you this interview not to be made to be the bad guy here.
I asked her to provide the new policy. If you're saying that you guys are playing catch up, that there have been issues that existed before you, what are you guys doing to solve those?
They've already been resolved.
Not Terrell Jolly's.
It's the principle, right? It's the principle. If we keep letting this go on, small and pop shops like myself won't be able to survive.
On both sides of this, finding and managing affordable housing can have its challenges. For Terrell Jolly,
we just keep going and going and going and going.
He hopes government agencies can start meeting them halfway. The Lee's Summit Housing Authority director told me in our interview that the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development sends housing assistance payments to them by the 1st of the month. And their agency has until the 10th of the month to disperse the funds. Well, a HUD spokesperson told me that no such policy exists. They also said that they've received complaints about the Lee's Summit Housing Authority, but they have no open investigations at this time. Alyssa Jackson, KSHB 41 News. The Sunfresh Market on Kansas City's east side is struggling. For the in-depth team, I took questions to the city about the store's future, and I'm taking a closer look at the nonprofit that owns the store and what it would mean for the community if the store fails. For months, neighbors have seen Sunfresh Market at 31st and Prospect in bad shape. In the 2 weeks since we've visited, it's gotten worse. The strong odor is there. A lot of fresh food is not. Produce, dairy, meat departments are mostly empty.
It's just like they just abandoned the community.
I watched people go inside and within minutes walk right out.
Just want to know why. Why is it like this?
The Linwood Shopping Center owned by the city was a $17 to $18 million investment. Sunfresh has received more than $1 million in city funding.
We want to make sure that our investment is protected. protected, and the grocery store wants to make sure, of course, that their investment's protected as well.
Kansas City's city manager Mario Vasquez said crime surrounding the store has contributed to its decline. The city has been through 3 contracts with security companies in the past 18 months. The store's ownership, a nonprofit called Community Builders of Kansas City, is talking to the city about what to do.
They pour any revenue that they have, they pour into the grocery store to make it viable. And now that if their core business is not functional, is not successful, then everything fails.
I did some research on Community Builders. It has a portfolio of $80 million in commercial and residential developments throughout the urban core. I pulled tax filings from ProPublica's database. 5 of the nonprofit's top employees, including the CEO, make 6-figure salaries. The CEO made a base salary of $188,000 and earned a $33,000 bonus in 2023. Data shows the nonprofit had $8.9 million in revenue that year, but $14.7 million in expenses. Closing the store is not off the table, but right now it is still a last resort.
It becomes that much harder to attract the next investor or the next company to say, like, look, you can be successful here, and it doesn't take very long to say, like, can we, to question whether they can be successful or not.
Without a Sunfresh,
probably deteriorate because we need a grocery store.
The neighborhood hurts, but existing like this has an impact too.
It is a deeper look at, what does it mean for us to not be successful here.
Alyssa Jackson, KSHB 41 News.